Hey everyone, and welcome back to Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. I'm your host Brian, and we're going to, of course, take a look at another horror anthology in this video as part of my July series that you guys picked. But I'm glad you did because I love anthologies, as you guys know. The one we're going to take a look at today is definitely not one that I had high expectations for going into it, and it's a good thing. And that movie is, you guys can see that, The Telling from 2009. Yeah, so basically it's a horror anthology done by Playboy Playmates is what it amounts to. But I actually had this DVD in my collection. I'm not sure how I got it. If somebody gave it to me or if I just ordered it early on because I was an anthology nut. But when I first started my channel about 4.5, 5 years ago, this was actually one of the first anthology movies I had in there, even before movies like Creep Show and Trick or Treat. So, anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. But let's go ahead and get into The Telling and talk about it here. So, The Telling is a 2009 horror film starring Holly Madison and Bridget Marquardt from the E! Television series The Girls Next Door. I kind of remember that series, though I didn't really watch it religiously. The film is also the film is also a producing debut of Bridget Marquardt, who teamed up with veteran producer Chuck Williams. It's directed by Jeff Burr and first-time director Nicholas Carpenter, grandson of filmmaker Hal Roach. So in the prologue, Brianna, after being harshly rejected from a sorority, is found dead at a party from overdosing on prescription drugs and alcohol. Scrawled in lipstick on a nearby mirror in the words that read, "You made me do this." 1 year later, the most exclusive and cruel sorority on campus, headed by Stephanie, played by Holly Madison, is in the final days of rush. For their final task, the three remaining pledges are required to tell the scariest story they know. And that's how we get into our anthology aspect of it, the stories. The first pledge, Tanya, tells a true story she heard from a friend. In the story, Lily is a beautiful blonde that lives with her boyfriend Tommy and his ex-girlfriend Sarah. And basically, Tommy, the boyfriend, brings home a creepy-looking doll that it's a creepy doll segment basically, and the doll talks, and sometimes it says very standard kind of things that the doll should say, and other times it doesn't. So think of Living Doll from the Twilight Zone. Um, Except not as good. The second story, told by Phoebe, is about a former A-list actress, Eva DeMarco, who's played by Bridget Marquardt, who wants to be back on top. So she basically finds this independent film director, and it ends up being a little bit more than she bargained for, let's just say that. And then the third and final story is Harley's turn. She tells a story about a group of three girls based on Stephanie, Amber, and Roxy. The story begins at the girls' home. The girls are about to go see a movie while their cable is being fixed. The girls come back home after one of them forgot to buy tickets in advance. Another girl suggests making prank calls. They call a man and tell him that he has won 7 free pizzas. While on the call, there's a knock on the door. The man answers and is brutally murdered by a killer. So that's obviously your slasher segment. So you've got a creepy doll segment. You've got the second segment, I would say, is kind of a zombie, not really zombie, but like an undead segment. And then the third segment's your slasher segment. So, yeah. And then, of course, it ties in at the end to an epilogue, basically where certain characters get their comeuppance with a tie-in. So that's basically the story of The Telling from 2009. As far as the cast goes, there's way too many to list all of them here, but some of the big ones: Holly Madison is Stephanie, Bridget Marquardt is Eva DeMarco, Nicole Zoli is Roxy, Lola LaBelle is Amber, Jean Louise O'Sullivan is Haley, and Rebecca Cocken as Lily. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 2009 horror anthology movie, The Telling. And this is the unrated version with the tagline, "Everyone's dying to be them." So it's basically about a sorority. That's what the movie's about. It's a sorority with really mean girls in it, I guess. Now, my thoughts on this one. Like I said, I didn't have high expectations going into it. And it's a good thing because you look at that cover and stuff, and obviously you know it's going to have playmates in it because that's especially Holly and Bridget. That's what they're known for. Um, but I still enjoy the anthology aspect of it. I think they it's not a good movie. It's not well executed across the board, but they do kind of know at least what a horror anthology should be in terms of the setup and the the wraparound or framing story and then the three stories. So let's just talk about it, starting with the things that I liked about the movie, my pros. And again, it's a horror anthology with Playboy playmates. How can you go wrong? I mean, it's kind of got the best of everything there. Lots of beautiful women throughout the movie, even ones that I don't necessarily know if they were playmates or not. That dated Hugh Hefner at one time, like Holly and Bridget did. It's 90% female actresses in this movie, and very beautiful female. So in an anthology movie, that's like the best of both worlds for a lot of people. I kind of found the framing or the wraparound story interesting, where you have sorority pledges that in order to get in or have a chance to, they have to tell scary stories to get in, with a tie-in twist at the end. Sort of a classic anthology style that I thought was interesting. I don't think I've seen it before. Maybe it exists in another anthology movie. I don't know, but I did kind of like that as something different. The third story, the slasher home invasion story, is probably the best one for me because it's the best paced. It's got the most action, the most things happening in it. They try to set up a lot of red herrings. The girls start by making a prank call to the wrong person who's being murdered at the time. You got a red herring cop that shows up, very suspicious. Yeah, I think that one probably works the best out of everything in this movie. So yeah, not to cut it short, but those are my pros for the telling. As far as cons go, there's nothing scary in this anthology movie. Nothing that really stands out from an iconic standpoint. Nothing that you're going to remember like you do from movies like Creepshow or even anthology movies from the 70s from Amicus. It's just kind of a generic, for the most part, anthology movie, but with playmates. So it's got that distinguishment for it. There's no real gore or cool kills on screen. It's a very low budget movie. It wasn't made by E Entertainment Television, but it kind of feels like it in a way. They put more of their money, I think, on who they had in the movie. But I don't even know what their budget was for this. I didn't find it anywhere. It was probably, who knows, maybe not even a couple $100,000. So, yeah, if you're looking for gore or really good kills on screen, there's not really any. I mean, the kills are kind of cutaway. They're kind of after the fact results. The first two stories kind of dragged. They definitely had pacing issues with the first story in particular about the killer doll. I actually like aspects of that one, but man, they really drew that one out. And even the second one, which is probably my least favorite, honestly, about the undead, that one was they could have moved things along a bit more. Overall, the movie's only 84 minutes long, an hour and 24 minutes. So the movie as a whole isn't long or slow, or I shouldn't say isn't slow, because a movie can be short and still be slow in terms of its pacing and execution, and that's kind of what this movie is for the most part, anyway. It does have a predictable ending twist, given the start of the movie that we get. Even though I mentioned in my pros that I do like that it has sort of that tie-in twist that I tend to like in anthology movies where the framing story is tied into the stories. But it's really not that hard to see coming. I'm not going to give it away, but basically the three pledges to this sorority, they're not there's a little bit more than meets the eye. Let's just leave it at that. There's one character at the end that explains way too much at the end of this movie, like as if we can't figure out what's going on. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but you're obviously seeing it on screen, and this character just keeps repeating and coming back to what's going on. And it's like, yeah, I think they know already. They're experiencing it. They use this weird music, like not rock music, but like music for the time, maybe. That kind of kills any possible tension at different points in the stories. I'm not really sure why they did that instead of just using like background creepy music. It's like sung rocked out kind of music. That didn't work for me. As far as the overall movie, as far as ranking the three stories, I would say the slasher one, the third story, is my favorite. My second favorite would be the first story about the killer doll, and then my least favorite would be the second story about the undead with Bridget Marquardt. Not that she's the problem in that segment. She looks great, and I should mention, there is nudity sprinkled out through all three of these stories. I don't think there is in the wraparound. Yeah, no, but in the three stories, there's a little bit of nudity in each one. So, if you're going to have Playboy Playmates in an anthology movie, you got to have a little nudity, don't you? And this is the unrated edition, as it says. So, yeah, that would be my ranking. But that's my thoughts on The Telling from 2009. There's really not too much to say about it otherwise. Like I said, no real gore, no real kills on screen, no real scares, but you got playmates. And you still have the anthology formula that I enjoy. It is very low budget, kind of shot in digital video, of course. As I said, they didn't have a lot of money, clearly, when they did this movie. So I take that into account. I'm going to be not as harsh on it as I would be otherwise. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It's still a horror anthology. It does have beautiful women in it. I'm going to keep it. I can't say I'm going to watch it all that often or that it's going to make any kind of top 10 or top 20 anthologies of all time lists. But for what it is and what they tried to do, it's modestly interesting. So 5 out of 10 for The Telling from 2009. Go ahead and comment down below your guys' thoughts on this movie if you've seen it, any questions you might have on it. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell. And if you want, if you can, please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out. But with that being said, only 3 down, 5 to go as far as horror anthologies for this series. So stay tuned. But hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for watching. And as always, stay scared. Bye.